Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. So we've gone over this once before in a previous video I made, but last night I was reading through the comments section and saw a lot of you wanted my opinion on the ongoing conversation surrounding Saudi Arabia, Evo, and the FGC. So unless this topic explodes again, I'll cover the latest developments and talking points here and then leave it at that, because I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen following this, but I'll explain that as I go through the video. If Evo goes to Riyadh as rumoured, I'd hate to do it, but I would have to boycott Evo in general. A large portion of the FGC is LGBT, and it is not safe for us to travel to a country that prosecutes LGBT people, and speaking with your wallet is the only power many of us have. And I mean full boycott. Not just not going to that event, but not going to Evo events in general. No watching any Evo events, and no tweeting about Evo in a positive way. And Zangief is really the one that started this whole conversation off in the FGC that has sparked numerous debates on morality, the safety of particular groups, and boycotting Evo in general. Now, one thing I've always said on this channel is vote with your wallets, and that's what Zangief is advocating for here, and I say go for it. That being said, I think you're fighting a losing battle. Voting with your wallets against the Saudi government, thinking you're going to invoke any real change, is like walking into a hornet's nest and trying to compromise with the hornets to not sting you. It is pointless. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't exercise your right to speak your shit and push for something. I'm just saying you've got a better chance of finding an interview with the Iron Sheik and not cussing somebody out.
All country way, make him humble, suplex him, put him in a camel clutch, break his back, and then fuck his ass, make him humble to respect the Iron Sheik.
You are fighting a losing battle. Remember that Busta Rhymes song, Arab Money? Yeah, he didn't just come up with that shit on his own. I also understand that going would likely not be a choice by Rick or anyone with the FGC's best interest at heart, but Sony corporate executives that are taking a payout from a murderer. That's a bit of a silly thing to say in my opinion, but people like to pick and choose what to be mad about and what to stand for. If you're truly somebody that stands on business like this, stands against taking products from a company that has blood on its hands, or whatever that might be, then be prepared to boycott absolutely everything in your life, minus the oxygen you breathe. I'm not even implicating Sony in that. I'm just well read enough to know that most corporations around the world are taking money from people they shouldn't and investing in things that hurt others. I don't know why you choose to single out the Saudi government when most governments around the world do this, unless of course it's now something that affects you. Now, if you were open in saying I only stand for things that affect me, then no problem, but singling them out doesn't really make any sense here to me. Don't be fooled by the rainbow flags they put up for you for 30 days out of the year. Talking about all these corporations, they only care about money. And before I go on, in my last video, someone said that I shouldn't talk about the American government in a disparaging way because I'm not an American. To whoever said that, you don't need to be from a particular place to observe things that that place might do and then comment on them. You're not always going to be right, and I'm not always right, and I accept that. But anyone can comment on anything that any government does, including the Saudi government. And that's exactly what this person is doing here. No one cares about your sexual orientation, nor no one will ask you about it. Just follow the law and the rules, which you are basically keeping you things to yourself, and be modest in public spaces. Is that hard to understand? Crybaby. Zangief follows up with, follow the rules, my existing breaks those rules. Now, before actually putting this up, I spoke to two of my friends from different parts of the Middle East. I'll keep it 100 of you guys. They said to me they're not particularly down with the LGBT movement because it goes against their beliefs. However, they did say to me that no harm will come to anybody that is of the LGBT community if they went over there, as long as they follow the rules of the country. And they both made it very clear to me that if I was over there hugging and kissing girls or my partner in public, I'd be in hot water too. So just be decent in general, no public displays of affection, and you're good. Now, when someone says no harm will come to you, obviously they're talking generally. Could you be walking down the road in Saudi Arabia and you meet a random person that wants to harm you? Of course. Human beings are flawed, people don't follow rules, some people are perpetually angry. But the same could be said in London. I can speak to any one of you that is listening to this video that might be gay or trans, and I'd say to you, most of the time in the UK, even if you do public displays of affection, you're going to be okay. I would be lying if I said that that is a thing that I would put forward absolutely. You could do that here in London. You could walk down the road holding another person's hand of the same sex as you in certain areas, and you might be in for a long night. There are certain areas in London that do not accept it. I'm not going to name those areas because I don't want to put anyone in hot water, but those areas know who they are, and I'm not shaming you for it. It's just that's the way it is in some places. Generally speaking though, you'll be okay in London, and I think that's what they're trying to get across here with Saudi Arabia. As long as you follow the rules, you'll be okay. And again, before you make it out like it's a gay thing, I was told by Middle Eastern people that the same applies for me. Now obviously I'm not gay, I like my women. If I went over there and started grabbing their women or grabbing my girl or whoever it might be in public, I would be in trouble. So we are in the same boat. You're not being singled out there for that. If you go on Google, you can look this up. Public displays of affection are heavily frowned upon for both sides of the coin. So they're speaking generally, as in the government and the institutions are not going to seek you out explicitly as long as you follow the rules, and you should follow the rules when you're in another person's country out of respect for them. You can see here in this screenshot, everyone is welcome to visit Saudi. We ask that visitors respect our culture and traditions and follow our laws as they would when visiting any other country in the world. Like other governments around the world, visitors are not required to disclose their personal information, and we will respect visitors' rights to privacy. So it's there, you've got it in the messaging. Also, when you go on Google and you look up Saudi Arabia and you look up other Middle Eastern countries, they sort of follow this same ruling. As long as you respect their culture and traditions, they're telling you there. They don't have to explicitly tell you what's going to happen if you don't, but they're telling you there, please respect our culture and our traditions. I don't think that you should take your worldviews into somebody else's backyard, and just because they don't line up with them, you disrespect them. They've told you there. And again, if you go on Google and you look up Saudi Arabia, their rules are clearly outlined, just don't break them. Being gay is still illegal. Them saying, trust us bro, we won't throw you in jail, is not a comfort. Being gay is illegal, but you don't have to go there if you feel uncomfortable. Evo is in two other places that are accepting of who you are completely. Just go there. You may think it's unfair, but the world does not revolve around you. Different cultures and different religions have different practices. You can bitch and moan about it as much as you want, but A, that's likely never going to change because that is a part of their religion, and B, why would you even want to go somewhere that's totally against you? I know I wouldn't. I think people fail to realize the second Evo is no longer available to the majority of the FGC, it loses its prestige. Evo isn't it anymore, it's only Evo in name now. Third Evo, second is Evo Japan, but yeah, when you run an event in a country where a lot of our top players across multiple games just cannot safely attend, it hurts the brand and the community while eroding trust. Like, look at what Daytona did in regards to CEO and amplify that. If Evo thought it was killing its own brand, I don't think they'd keep expanding. Besides, Evo is not accessible to a lot of people in the Middle East or parts of Asia like Pakistan. They have visa issues all the time, or it's just too costly to go there. Hell, Evo isn't even accessible to me, and I'm a Londoner. Vegas is too pricey. Only reason I went to Evo Japan is because I happened to be on holiday when it was on. By that logic, Evo has never really been majority FGC, since the FGC does not only revolve around America. That is likely why they made an Evo Japan. A lot of those guys likely couldn't travel to Vegas, and we all know that on average, Japan and Korea produce the best fighting game players. The birthplace of fighting games are in Asia. So this tweet seems very inner to me. And I don't mean this as a put down to Americans. Obviously, I know I have a very large American audience. I get on with you guys, but the world does not revolve around America. So this tweet does not make any sense. You already have one in America. Japan now has one. There's nothing wrong with another place having one. You don't have to go to it. It's not like they're taking Evo and moving it to the Middle East. They're just creating a third one. They might create a fourth one in some other part of the world, and there might be a certain type of people that are not welcome there. It is what it is. It's a very, very big world. Not every single part of the world is going to welcome you. That being said, the Saudis are saying that you can come over. Just don't do things in public. Again, before you say anything, that is the same for me. I am a straight male. If you read through the thread, I mentioned other countries such as Bahrain and Jordan that have legal protections for LGBT people. I'm all for having events that will allow more people to be able to experience them, but it should not come at the cost of safety for others. So are you suggesting that we should boycott or punish the entire event because of the actions or beliefs of a specific group of people? Isn't that like exactly what y'all are against? I'm on your side. I just think this stance is a bit strange. Now, to the first part of that tweet from Tarzangi, that is not entirely true. While same-sex activity was decriminalized in Bahrain in 1976, there are still plenty of laws that do not allow indecency in public. Therefore, as long as you are following the rules in Bahrain, they won't bother you. However, if you are partaking in PDAs with a person of the same sex, then yeah, you're going to catch some heat. A simple fix would be just don't do it. You're not at home. Respect other people's cultures. In Jordan, homosexual conduct is legal. However, public displays of affection are seriously frowned upon. So again, we're in the same boat. I won't kiss any girls and you don't kiss any guys. We're both good. It's not that hard. Respect their culture. My girl might wake up in the morning looking 10 out of 10. She's been hitting gym. She's out in public. She's looking good. I'm feeling a type of way. I want to put my hands on her. And then I put my hands on her and I turn around to the side and I say, well, we do this back home. So what's the problem? Just don't do it. No one's going to bother you. It's that simple, dude. You can walk around. They're telling you they'll allow you to walk around. It's not a problem. Just don't do it. Don't put hands on your boyfriend. If I can do it, why can't you do it? Now, Frame Impala hits it on the head there. Because it's not convenient for you, you don't want them to have an Evo. Look, as I said, Evo is already in Japan and America. You've got that. You have 2 Evos. Other parts of the world should get to experience Evo whilst not having to sacrifice their cultures to accommodate you. It doesn't seem very inclusive to me. Now, you know, in reality, there are parts of the world that don't accept you, just like there are parts of the world that don't accept me because of the way I look. Do I think that those people, because of their cultures and their standards, should not get to experience something just because they don't like me? No. It's a big world. They can have their own Evo, and you don't have to go there. You are not being deprived of Evo. I'm saying if you want to see change and make events safe for everyone, you need to speak out. There are options besides Saudi Arabia. Use your voice to ask for them instead. If you think this is about punishing people, then you need to rethink your priorities. Boycotting the event would mean penalizing those allies who genuinely want to participate and contribute positively. Isn't boycotting or punishing the event because of the actions or beliefs of a specific group of people fundamentally against the inclusive cause we advocate for? Again, Frame Impala hit the nail on the head. You are being extremely self-centered and dismissive of the Muslim populace. Not every part of the world sees things the way we do. And I think that you should be okay with that and understand that this is a big world. We all have our own thoughts. We all have our own gods that we pray to. We all have our own way of seeing the world. Not everybody has to see things the way you do. This is a complete lack of respect for another part of the world. It would be different, Tarzangi, right? If the entire planet refused you to be how you are. But we don't live in a world like that. We live in a world where you can live peacefully in your own community with people that are like-minded. If you are the inclusive type, then you should want these people to have their own Evo. I mean, first of all, you're making out like the things that the Saudi government may or may not have done, without getting into the specifics, should affect the people that live in Saudi Arabia, the everyday people. All of our governments do terrible and heinous things. All of them. Now, just because the Saudi government are directly involved with boxing and the UFC and now the FGC does not mean that the people on the ground should not get to experience Evo and experience fighting game tournaments the way we do. Not everything revolves around us. You need to accept that, you need to understand that, you need to digest that and then move on. When your beliefs bump into my right to exist, then respect goes out the window. It's wrong when Christians attack gay people, it's wrong when Muslims do it. Widening out is especially an issue when it's pushing beliefs on a person who may not have those beliefs. You do realize that you're pushing your beliefs and your way of life on other people. What you said there makes no sense. You can exist in America. Look, dude, there's places that I can't go, like I said, and I won't go. And there's places I've been to and I won't go back to. It is what it is. In my instance, I can't hide the color of my skin, but you don't have to get handsy with people in public or wave around any flags. You can't smell the gay on someone. Like, you need to relax. I literally cannot hide what I am, but that's okay. The whole world's not for me. Some people have their communities that don't want me in it. That's fine. It's a big world. There's enough space for all of us. Not everybody's gonna like you. Again, accept it, understand it, digest it, and move on. As long as you don't do sexual acts in public, you should be fine. They won't know or care you are gay or whatever. And what if I popped off and kissed my boyfriend because I just won Evo? What if a trans woman wanted to not hide who she is? Telling us to go back in the closet is not the answer. And there it is. The selfish entitlement of this person on full display. It clearly says on any website that you can look up on Google that public displays of affection are not okay. So if I jumped up and kissed my girl because I won, I'd be in trouble as well. I can wait till I'm behind closed doors, so why can't you? This tweet actually solidified the entire thing for me. I'm surprised you even tweeted this. You tanked your entire argument and it wasn't even a good one to begin with. Just respect their culture. It is not that hard. You know, when I went to Japan, I was well aware that some places did not want me in there because of my appearance. For those of you that don't know what I look like, that's me. Notice the tattoos? Some places in Japan aren't down with it, and I got told to cover up a few times. Now, most of the time, people were cool with it, but as soon as they said cover up, I did it. You know why? Because when I go to somebody else's house, I respect their rules, and if I can't respect their rules or get down with them, I don't go. There are certain places in the world where they do things that I do not like or respect, and so I'm just not gonna go. I have no interest in changing them, discussing them. I'm just not going. I suggest you focus on places that you want to be, Tarzangi. You're not changing anything with this self-centered rhetoric. As if you can't just not kiss your boyfriend on stage in front of thousands of Muslims that are watching the event in their own home. Do you understand how self-centered you have to be for an entire nation, entire group of people to say, we don't really like that? Can you just do it behind closed doors? And you go, no, in their own house. I can't believe you tweeted that. I'm actually shocked. I hope that this isn't true. It saddens me to see how the FGC has seemingly let a prince with blood on his hands walk right in with open arms. Ever since the Tekken 7 Gamers 8 tourney, I was terrified at how all it took was money for people to ignore the situation in Saudi Arabia. The FGC didn't let the Saudis do anything. They're gonna do whatever they like, whether we like it or not. Money talks, and they have a lot of it. It has always just taken money to sway a situation. There is far too much corruption around the world to just single out the Saudis. Besides, the everyday people that just want to play some games do not deserve this vitriol. I don't think they should be deprived of it, otherwise we take that mentality and we apply that mentality to our everyday ways of life. A lot of us shouldn't be doing or having anything. A lot of the first world countries we live in have done a lot of atrocious things, even if they don't publicize it. People shouldn't have to hide a part of their existence in order to not offend the local culture. Actually, they should. Like I said, I was more than happy to hide myself out of respect for the Japanese people if it called for it, and on the occasions that it did, I did it without question. Just bowed my head and kept it moving. Now, if I was walking down the road in my neighborhood and a Japanese person walked up to me and told me to cover up, I'd say, sir or madam, you're in my house now and over here it's cool, so deal with it. Respectfully. It goes both ways. Imagine I was in Japan and they asked me to cover up and my response was, but this is my true authentic self. Like, dude, what the hell are you even talking about here? Seriously, I'd be ashamed of myself for behaving like that. So that's it, guys. That's my stance for those of you that asked. I respect other people's cultures and places that they live. I suggest you guys start doing the same, and if you can't, then don't go. But let me assure you of one thing. No amount of boycotting is going to change anything. The Saudis already took over boxing. Do you really think they're going to have trouble taking over the FGC? Just focus on your own Evo, have fun at home, and create some memories together. Now, I'm not saying don't vote with your wallet. I'm just saying your wallet is useless in this situation. This isn't like Mortal Kombat where I was saying vote with your wallet because you can directly affect the studio. You can't affect the Saudis. I don't think you understand how far their money runs. If the entire American FGC did not go to Evo, I'm pretty sure they would be okay. They have so much money, they could burn money for a year and they'd still be exponentially richer than all of us put together. Rich, poor, middle class, whatever it might be. Besides, you're gonna have a hard time convincing most people from the FGC to not go to Saudi Arabia, because word on the street is the Saudis are building Dragon Ball World. And if you think I'm missing out on Dragon Ball World, you must be out of your goddamn mind. Don't worry though, I'll send you a postcard as I ride on Shenron's back.
Pause.
And before you say anything about giving up my morals for my own entertainment and pleasure, I'd look into businesses in your own backyard and what your own government has done to people around the world. That includes mine, and if you're not from America and you're watching this, it probably includes yours as well. So if we're on a boycotting flex with governments and countries, we are going to be here all day and we're not going to get anything done. Now, as I said, Tarzangi, and anybody that feels that way, vote with your wallet. Do what you think is right, and I don't mean that sarcastically. Honestly, do what you think is right. Do what makes you feel better and helps you sleep at night. I'm just saying, in reality, nothing is going to change here. You should respect other people's cultures. You should not go into their backyard and make them change the way they think or expect them to accept you how you are. I accepted that when I got my body tattooed. Even though I love the idea of going to Asia and potentially even living there, I would not disrespect those people. I'd only show my arms and my chest and my back off if they allowed it. I know in Osaka they were cool with it. In some parts of Tokyo they weren't really down with it, and I just followed the rules. It's that simple. Anyways, guys, have a good day. Take care of yourselves and peace.